a very magical place. So I was there with Amelia, so she was my witness. And I was wearing a hat, and suddenly I felt a light inversion, if you know what that means. And the third eye and the crown chakra went off. Yeah, it went sort of like this. Ready? See that? Just fucking on.
It blinded everybody.
And I saw all of you go by. Some of you were moving, let's say, the wrong way, maybe going to heaven, I don't know. The others were, the saints were marching in with me. Look at that. Wow. It's fucking bright, isn't it? I don't think any of you could handle it. So look at it. Let me screw it in right. Ready? All right. Now I can see clearly. Oh, I'm losing it. I did something. Wait a minute. I went to. Oh, fuck. I better go to Satsang. Oh, it's now again. It's getting brighter. Far out. Wow. I have to hit the third eye. Oh no! I never knew they had these hats with these lights on. They're very cool. Yeah. You get lost in the desert, you can see everything. So yeah, that was my spiritual experience. I shared it. Yes. Now, if you go to Joshua Tree and go to the rock exhibit called Hemingway, turn left at the fourth Joshua Tree, right at the first Lingam rock, and then right there is where it happened. Yeah. Now, I think you got to be there on the same day of the week, not the same day, but the same day of the week, which gives you a lot of 50 more opportunities, 52 more. I think it was Tuesday, today, around 1:30.
Today's Wednesday.
Whoops, I just muted you, Paul. Sorry. Can you hear me? Where is he? I muted you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Sorry.
You didn't. You muted the story
During the secret.
Jesus
Yes, I'm
Christ.
sorry.
I finally had a spiritual experience. I'm trying to share it. I
I
thought
think
this
they
was.
heard that. They didn't hear the last part, maybe.
I thought it was.
We heard the 52 weeks.
We need your back.
We need. We mean more verification. Amelia isn't enough. Look at her. If anyone's going to determine someone's spiritual state, it would be Amelia. Look, she's got the loving gaze. Yeah. So, well, listen, I'm happy to be here. It's a pleasure. So, if anybody's new here, they probably turned off already. So, there's a new. Nice to see a new David, and. But one thing, it's very nice at Joshua Tree, the silence is really something else. Yeah. It's really thick. Yeah. Some people who are like spiritually challenged, I don't want to say who, but starts with an A and ends with an A. Yeah. She even felt it. So. All right, well, let's start if you like.
There Everybody? There is a Kenny is new, David says.
Hi, Kenny, how are you?
His video's not on, so I don't know.
All right, well, welcome. I hope you've heard some of the Zen Bitch Slap videos or audios. So basically, most of us have been confronted with the idea of non-duality. We may have read it or heard about it or went to a meeting of it. And for some of us, the idea seemed quite novel, yeah, because usually there's an assumption of where we're starting from in our search. Yeah. And non-duality would sort of stop you right there and question, yeah, that idea of what it is or who is it that's the starting of the search. Yeah. And then not having much opinions about what comes after, just negating it right at the before. And that was novel. But the same thing that had went to my first Indian guru meeting, and the same thing that seemed to have been to the first Buddhist meeting, and the same thing that went to the Course in Miracles, that sense of being Paul as the starting point just constantly reasserted itself. Didn't matter if it was after an epiphany or a spiritual awakening, or all it needed was a little time, and then it just usurped itself into that position of being the starting point, which actually gives all the rationale and logic to searching, because there is a sense that we cannot possibly truly be what we're looking for, how we feel about what's looking or who's looking. Yeah. So we're definitely, the lighthouse isn't turning in, it's looking outside. And therefore, then we hear about a topic, let's say the truth or our inherent nature, as this false manufactured one. And obviously, the only thing we can do is to look for it. Yeah. And maybe what triggers that desire to look for it is a conceptual idea that builds upon more conceptual ideas. But on a real pragmatic level, we're hoping it's going to give us a sense of freedom from a lot of the inherent glitches of the manufactured state. Yeah, we're thinking equanimity would make it easier for Paul to be Paul, or having not so much judgment and all these things, but never really looking at that assumption of Paul. Yeah, and then what I love about non-duality, because it is such a stark contrast to other invitations, it brings out this manufactured idea of Paul a lot. It draws it out. It puts it into a contrast that you don't usually see it through other invitations, because most other invitations include you in the invitation, and it's going to be you that's going to get better, and you is going to purify, and you are going to transcend, and you are going to have satori. And so it basically stops it right in its tracks, and then it presents statements like the seeker is the sought, which compresses the whole event of seeking and sought. Yeah, it just goes, we're going to put an end to all of that addition of time and space and effort and locations where the seeker could manufacture or imagine in the pursuit of sought, to shrink it as the seeker is the sought, which is beautiful. Yes, it just compresses it and takes out two huge ingredients concerning this topic of what we are, which is space and time. It's just the seeker is the sought. It doesn't say, all right, there's the sought and the seeker, and we'll give you this. The seeker was the sought at one time, yeah, but it isn't now. Or the seeker will be the sought, but basically the premise is it isn't now. But no, it's the seeker is the sought, is, bammo, yeah, beautiful. I don't feel anything else says that, yeah. So once you started hearing satsang, the message changed your ears in a way. And then you started to recognize that which was not recognizable. And you would think it would be while you were searching spiritually. Yeah, you would think that would be a main obstacle that spirituality would have to move aside to arrive at where it wants to get to. It would. It would seem, there's one statement by Rama that leads that same logic, which is being ourselves reality, wanting to attain reality. So here we go, trying to attain reality. Sooner or later, it's obvious that we're the problem. Yeah? Yes? I mean, after a while, you realize, wait a minute, why I'm not arriving is there's something to do with right where I am right now. Wait, and so you're onto something finally. And then the mental logic, its reaction to that is, well, ultimately, for me to attain reality, I must be destroyed. Yes? So I am truly the obstacle. This is the mental state talking about the mental state. And its logic being so black and white, it can only arrive at, well, for me to attain reality, this me has to be destroyed. Now, if you're living from this me, it's going to slow walk the spiritual search. Yeah? It's not going to run ahead to the finish line, because the finish line basically is saying you're going to be annihilated. Now, obviously, the mental idea doesn't want that. Yet, this is a gold mine. It can acquire and identify quite a lot with spirituality. It can get a pretty big reflection out of a spiritual identity. So it says, I'm going for it because I know it's never going to reach the conclusion that I'm afraid of. Yeah. It's never going to bring my annihilation. I have it sussed out that I'm going to reinforce this me under the ruse that I'm losing this me. Yeah. And many of us have woken up after years of spiritual seeking, and that rude awakening started becoming something that was rubbing on us a lot. Yeah. And we were coming to a rude awakening about it. Wait a minute. This earnestness and this longing that I'm supposing and I'm polishing every day, maybe it's not as authentic as I thought. Yeah. Because that thing that's really the obstacle doesn't seem to be threatened by all of these, like I'm calling the moving van to move you as the obstacle. I'm going on a 3-month retreat. It doesn't seem like it's that worried that it's going to be moved out of the way. It just signs up for the retreat, goes for it, and maybe signs up for a 6-month retreat after that. So it seems to be growing quite a lot in this field of spirituality. And I noticed that the identity as a spiritual being was pretty fucking subtle, yeah? And it garnered a lot of different reactions than the old identity as a drug addict, let's say. And it seemed to be an incredible upgrade. First of all, the women I was attracting were something else. They were yogic. They were very flexible, agile, nubile. They'd been working out for years. Their skin was glowing. Hey, Jesus Christ, yeah. This is pretty nice. So non-duality does something that I didn't run into anything else doing, which is it brings into stark contrast these misunderstandings. And the primary one of a life that's understood through the lens of two, yes? That there isn't seeing, there's see or seen. There's hear or heard, there's feel or felt, yes? And if they're not examples of two, I don't know what is. And the whole framing of the statement of non-duality is not two, yeah? So it's not like there's not seeing, but there is not see or seen, yeah? Now, the seer and the seen is going to keep appearing because it wasn't ever true and it was appearing. And so when it's really not true for you, it keeps appearing. It has nothing to do with your clarity. It's a manufacturing, it's a projection. So the seer seen, the mental state keeps offering that narrative. I don't see it coming to an end. And I don't believe that's a requirement necessary. I don't. I believe that the two-ness goes on its merry way, and yet there's a huge loss of interest in its validity. Yeah. And now that attention and interest, which is your availability and presence, instead of being given to the narrative, is now given over to life, let's say. Yeah. And now that energy is enriching your day instead of enslaving it. Yeah. So nothing I ever ran into ever became the last answer over time, other than this message. Yeah. It's been holding steady as number one on the 100 last answers. It's number one for it's like the longest selling album, like Pink Floyd, you know, on the Dark Side of the Moon, keeps selling out, you know, albums for 50 freaking years. Well, this is the number one last answer. Yeah. What an incredible putting to rest all that anxiety and discomfort and constantly having to move or extract more out of every moment and get better. Yes, that's a real relief. To be okay, not based on the requirements you used to have to live by, but based on the beforeness of it all. Yeah, it's great. It's a great joy to be okay. So I hope these satsangs will just keep supporting the idea that there's nothing that's needed, truly, unless there's a need for something right now, then that will be dealt with in life. But ultimately, there's nothing that's needed. Yeah, you are what you're looking for. You are the other shore. You have arrived already. You never left, is the point. Yeah. And when all those movements of all that stuff, when it sort of simmers down and you just feel present and available, even as this action figure. So the action figures, it's now mimicking, it's as close as it can get to the real thing. You are always available at all times and you're always present. There's no escaping of the here from now. And then you're living like quite closely to that as the action figure. Yeah. Not produced by the action figure, but an expression through the action figure. Yeah. It's pretty nice. So now you never get gypped. You're here. You're not believing you can be out of a moment. So you have no interest in any techniques to get into the moment because you can't be out of it. Yeah. All these things that used to fuel more seeking have been extinguished. Yeah. What more do you want, really? And what's the maintenance for some of us? Satsang, Jesus Christ. You don't even have to dress for satsang. All you got to wear is a top. Yeah, you can be, you move from one lazy chair to another lazy chair. I mean, wow. Oh, let's have the Zoom in another room. Oh, that's a huge fucking ordeal. Yes, I know. There's a way too much of a demand now. Yes, I mean, Jesus, how much easier do you want? So this is, if you truly believe you want to transcend and stuff like that, great. There's a lot of meetings that will support that. We don't support that. We're just at the point, what we support is there's nowhere to just transcend from or to. Yeah. Yeah. You're it. Yeah. So, and I feel for most of us, there's too much glitter when it's lifted into a lofty position, and we get blind by the spiritual bling in a sense. The dog shit awareness is the most reliable. Yes, you're just here, available and present. What more really do you want? Yeah. So I feel the obstacles don't need to be moved. Because they're projections, yeah? And the strength of the projection gives it the translucence or the opaqueness, yeah? And now when you start losing interest, that seemed to be opaque and solid now becomes translucent. You can see it, transparent, yes? Nothing, it hasn't changed. It's us, yeah? So there you go. I'm happy that it actually works. Most of the time when we're away, the Wi-Fi never works. So hail Joshua Tree. Now it's all got locked. Can you hear me, Mike? No, everyone's Zoom got stuck.
Yes.
Oh, great. That was slow answer. All right, that's
on
it,
mute.
Mike. Eh?
What?
That's it.
You ready for questions, you mean?
I am, yeah.
Okay. Jim, aka Aquaman, actually has one by chat. And he says that you say something like, you can't think your way out of it. Can you elaborate on that?
No. Your life elaborates on it already. How much more elaboration do you need? It's been overdone. Yeah.
It reminds me of the Course in Miracles early lesson that says, you're never upset for the reason you think, and you can just emphasize the last word. You're never upset for the reason that you think. Or you are upset for the reason that.
Yes.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Yes. The thinking never gets out of the thinking. Yeah.
Yes. So if you were to elaborate on it, that would be a problem, huh?
Well, yeah, that would be the thinking, trying to get out of the thinking problem. We all have the evidence. It's right there.
Maybe you can draw a diagram.
It's like a 30 car. It's like a 30-car crash, and they got the live video, and then they asked the guy, the newscaster, to elaborate. There you go. You can see it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and Bruce has his hand up. Hi, Bruce.
All right. Hi. Hi,
Hey,
everyone.
Bruce.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, Paul.
What was that? Did you just come out of the bathroom now? I was wondering. Sound of like familiar leaf there. No.
Like the resentment thing. Thoughts appear, and like after two of them, it's like not that they're not my thoughts. There's no me to have thoughts, and the idea of not paying attention to thoughts seem to have been very relieving, that there's no one having the thoughts. Anyway, that's my report.
Yes. However it works, yeah. It doesn't matter how it works. It matters it works. Yes. So
I feel there is like a maturity. You mentioned transparency, and I feel, like this sense of being an individual self, and then, like a couple becoming parents, the role of the individual changes into the role of parenting, and it's very transparent, in the sense of maturity, of spirit, I guess, if one likes. But anyway, yeah, the satsang, it's like walking together on a path, in the woods or something, that's all. Spending the evening together. Can't beat that.
yes, great.
So thanks for being here, everyone.
No. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Yes. Yes, thank you, Bruce.
Okay. Thanks for letting me share.
William, I think. Yeah.
What?
William.
You're saying William?
Yeah, William. Go.
Okay,
Oh,
I got
Yeah,
it.
I think William S. had his hand up.
Yes, I have it now. Yes, I got it now. My question is, in the past, I heard you talk about the spirit and the letter of our discussions. Now, I get a little confused on and off, and I feel like I think I have somewhat of the letter, but I feel a little deficit in the spirit of it. And I just wondered if if there's anything I can do about that, or just bring it up. I'm not even.
I think just what you notice will initiate something. So yes,
I don't
what
quite.
you notice, what you shared will initiate something. Yeah. To see the distinction of the letter and the spirit, it must, because the letter seems to be a much more common activity. The sense of the spirit, to see the difference comes from the sense of the spirit. Yes.
Yes.
So now you can see the letter of the law from the spirit of the law, instead of trying to see the spirit of the law from the letter of the law. Yeah. Yes. The letter of the law is easy. You can read something and think you know. Yeah. You can read something and think you know it conceptually. And you may know it conceptually, but conceptually isn't really knowing it. Yeah. Yeah. So that sometimes that goes without a sense of it, that may replace the spirit in a way. You'll have the letter of it, of the law, but you won't have the spirit of it. The spirit, when it becomes obvious, casts light on the letter of it. Yeah. And it makes it a lot less unimportant when you're only seeing everything from the letter of it. Yeah. So the pronouns and the I, me, my, or how people talk, because this language is a subjective language used by objects, seemingly. Yeah, you lose interest in that, because the spirit is, the letter was sort of a weak substitute for the spirit. When the spirit gets sensed, you see the limitation of the letter. Yes.
Well, that's
Yeah.
my question. How do I arrive at that spirit? Opposed
Well,
to,
you are there already. You don't need to arrive at the spirit, but you're going to seemingly depart from the letter. Yeah.
okay.
And so there's going to be like more like a gravitational pull. The letter doesn't know which way to launch or how, but the spirit will pull. Yes. Yeah.
No,
And it may seem like a process in time, but I'm feeling like you've been under it already, and I think it's going well. And therefore, yeah, that's what happened.
it seems like there's something I want to do specifically.
Yeah, well, specific, sometimes you miss the panoramic in a way. So maybe just, yeah, just take that into the conversation. Yeah. It's probably going to happen not the way you thought, which is probably good. Yeah. So when specifics come about, it's you at the stone chopping away, and it doesn't turn out like the David for Michelangelo. So, yeah, I would just, there's a faith involved. Yeah, I feel.
It sounds like you're saying let it happen.
Yes. And then, you may not even have the eyes to see it for a while, and then you'll see it. Yeah. But whenever you'll see it, there'll be gratitude. And yeah, I don't mind the letter of the law. I don't like it when it replaces the spirit of the law, with that phraseology. I'm just not into that. I ran into it when I was young in this seat assignment. I spoke at a thing coming out of Australia. I did an audio for this Urban Guru Cafe, and not knowing anything about it, like most things, I just said yes, and then the lady interviewed me, and then afterwards I went to the site, and they had other people that they had interviewed, and I went to comments, and it was unbelievable. Like, if you said the word I, me, or my, you were disqualified from commenting on these very lofty commentary things. It was just like, wow, that was weird to me, because we came out of a different, I didn't come out of an educational version of non-duality. Yeah, I wasn't educated into non-duality. I wasn't. I was felt into it. Yeah. Senses changed. Feeling something underneath it all changed, or didn't change. That's really what it was.
That's the question I'm asking, is like, is there any way I could accelerate that or speed it up or?
No, I don't think you can, but that doesn't mean it can't get accelerated. But I don't believe you can accelerate it. No. So just chill out, bro.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and then maybe, look for an opportunity to be of service somewhere else. That may accelerate it. Yeah, you'll be surprised what accelerates it.
Awesome. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I lost the interest of, non-duality just set a migration of interest. It did. It just blew my mind. I thought interest was a valuable thing and to have in my pursuits, but when it comes to pursuing what you already are, it doesn't do. It's really an obscuring factor. Yes, I had no idea of that until there was a sense of it. Yeah, I didn't get an educational idea of it that way. I came to that idea from a sense feltness. Yeah, yeah. So
that sense feltness is what I'm curious about and how I can.
Yes, well,
connect to that.
admit that you can't. That's part of the. I think that accelerates a lot of movement when there's an admitting that you can't accelerate the movements. Yeah,
I got that.
really.
Got that.
Yeah. So now it's stuck its chin out, and
Yeah.
it wants, and so now you can look at it as not you. It's pretty good.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks, William. Anybody else want to raise their hands?
Amelia's she's poring over the Upanishads right now. The oldest, the text, the Vedas. She's studying ancient scripture. Look at her. She's just so absorbed. Yeah. Yeah.
The Italian translation?
Yeah. She's yeah. She's deeply in the pursuit of shoes. All right. Yes.
Miranda has her hand up.
All right, Miranda.
Hey, Miranda.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
I just I sit quiet here most of the time, but I've gotten a lot of support from Zen Bitch Slap in the last few weeks. I really needed it. Got clean, and it's just shaky legs and shit, and I just am kind of overwhelmed with gratitude right now. For you, Paul, to be here with us on the night before Thanksgiving, which is like really difficult for a lot of people. And I've just gone through a lot of tough stuff in recent months, and and just the whole idea of that's kind of falling apart. But I've been watching your videos from Italy all week, and it's just kind of it feels kind of like the walls are closing in, and like in a very like you talk about the process of negation, and it gets my detours away from me, like they're getting shorter, those trips. And but for me, in my experience, like right now, I'm like, I feel like a little child, like like I need constant redirection. I need that constant support, and like what you put out here for all of us. Like I don't have a lot of money right now. I don't have a lot of opportunities to be with someone who's like so solid and clear and reassuring, in the sense that the authenticity that comes through is very, I know that trust is important in this process. And that is something that I'm understanding in a completely different way. And like, I can trust where you're coming from. I don't get that sense with a lot of teachers, but when I do, I just feel so grateful, and for everyone who comes and speaks and shares and is vulnerable in that way, because this is really weird. But I just really, really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you guys giving me a chance to say that.
Well, thank you, Miranda. Thank you. You know, when I got sober in recovery, you know, all that stuff that was covered over, you know, it's sort of like sort of whitewashing an elephant, so to speak. All that stuff that was covered over when I got sober bled through. And I had difficult times on holidays, yes, the first few years.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. And I would be more apt to be triggered then than any other day, because some reason they were different days, yeah. And now, at the level where I was, what was offered to me as a solution was leaving America around November 17th, going over to Asia, and coming back in March. So I would miss the of alcoholics, which is Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, because I was outmatched, really. I didn't know what to do. And not that I looked to do it that way, but that's how it ended for him. And I stayed over there like 11 years. Every year I wouldn't be. So in like Christmas, you know, Christmas Eve in Thailand, they'd have like a plastic tree, like a foot, maybe on the desk of the guest house, you know. As you walked in, there was nothing going on. And it was weird, but that's sort of what it was, a solution, yeah. Now, obviously, over the years, like you say, you need constant care. That's not going to be the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
Recovery progresses. It does, yeah. And so those things that had to be so black and white, a lot of those things, there's no need to do anything anymore, because the forecast of fire is false evidence, yes? This is what you learn over time. What has been blaring in one's head is propaganda, literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've gotten weaned off of it. But while you're not weaned off of it, you're going to do what you need to do, just to keep, you know, to stay sober another day. And that gets a momentum and power. Yeah. Yeah. So it's good. It's good to know that you need, it's not constant care, but a lot of care, because there's a lot of care available. Great. So there's a need for a lot of care, and there's a lot of care. I mean, that's as good as it gets, really. Yeah. Yeah. So cannot do any justice whatsoever. You just, you lose interest and faith over time, and all those future assurances that have no validity whatsoever. And you really find a great security in insecurity. Yes?
Yeah,
You really do. You just suit up and show up, like we say, and let go of the results.
Yeah,
So,
the recovery deepens. I wrote that down last week, and it's, you know, during one of your meetings, and it's just kind of a mantra right now. Yeah, it is
Great.
really hard. Like, I mean, even just like sitting here, it's just like it would be so easy for me to just like just steer into numbness, which is my my inclination a lot of times.
yeah, but now you can see that there's a force working because you're not doing that. So there's the evidence right there. Yeah. It would be so easy, but you're not doing it. So something is even easier, which is not to do it. Yeah. That's recovery. That's what it's like. Yeah. These things don't go and just blow in the wind. They become habits. Yeah. And then you get into the habit of being sober, which allows a lot of other things to come into life, into this life, that won't be able to land while you're fucking in active addiction. So they may fly by, and it's really a they don't, because there would be more crack ups than ever. So now, yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, I thought I was gonna be okay because I could not get as fucked up as I used to. And it's like, I just realized that, I mean, as far as my development is concerned, and I mean, just, I mean, I just don't, it's just like my antenna gets fucked up, you know? It's like my receptors, like I just don't, and it's not just that shit, it's just all of the other shit that comes along with it. Like, it's just, it gets, shit gets complicated, and I don't, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, it was worse, and your acting out was an attempt to relieve yourself of it.
Oh yeah.
But it was never the worst thing. It was that which motivated that behavior, that insanity up there, that irritable, restless, and discontent. And that's completely rooted in obsession with this idea of being the doer, the thinker, the feeler, the taste, the toucher. It's not an unknown cause effect. It's very, very clear. Even in the big book, it's clear. It says, why are you in so much fear today? Isn't it because self-reliance has failed you? Yeah. So what would be the most reliance you could be on something than to take yourself to be it? You couldn't be more reliant on something than that. And that's activating all the other shit. Yeah. So when you lose interest in that, guess what? There'll be a loss of interest in fear and resentment and shit like that. Yeah. But if there's not a loss of interest in self, and you try to lose interest, fear, and resentment, you're going to have more of it. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I've been experiencing
this doesn't move. It isn't whimsical. Yes, this isn't whimsical. This isn't a chance occurrence. It's pragmatically manufactured. And as the big book has revealed, like it or not, the cause of fear is self-reliance. That's its genesis. That's its diagram. That's its diagnosis. Now, if you're in the big book, that's the diagnosis of the big book. Why are you in so much fear today? Is it because self-reliance has failed us? It does not say you failed you. It's self-reliance has failed us. Us is not of self-reliance. Us is of some vague qualities, let's call it awareness or spirit, whatever, but that us seemingly gets defeated. It never does, but seemingly does by losing that sense of spirit and gaining a sense of self, which the head manufactures. So this is a losing of interest in that. And then you lose interest in fear, and you're not, the pH of your situation changes from acidic to alkaline. And now you attract other shit. Yeah. Like looking at Joshua trees and incredibly beautiful rock formations. Yeah. Instead of looking at the bars in a cell, having a huge resentment. What did I do to end up here? And, feeling it was great misfortune I didn't deserve. I had that many times. So this is completely different. Yeah. You have a huge role in it, not as the you think, but as what you are. You have a huge role here. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, seriously. You can make mountains out of molehills. You can. Yeah. That faith that we represent is powerful. If it's being used and directed by some insane activity, you're going to garner or reap the effects. You're going to have to experience those things. Yeah. You brought them into actuality and whack, they hit you. Yeah. So the freedom is before all this shit. Yeah. The great news about this message is what you believed is already so has never actually happened. It's a great. It's not something to dwell on. It's something to observe. Yeah.
Can you repeat that?
You hear it, you don't dwell on it. You end up observing.
Paul?
No, I can't. I
Can you
lost
hear me?
it.
Oh, okay.
But yes. I just lost it. It just went. But yeah. You can listen to the audio again. That's what's nice. This is recorded.
I think you said you can't dwell on it, but you can observe it.
Yes, you observe it. See, the idea that nothing's ever happened isn't something you dwell on. You start to observe it. Yeah, you start to observe that there's a lot going on, but nothing actually ever happened.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
it's amazing sometimes
You
lately.
don't use these things as money. I lost you there a second. But we should move on, Miranda. See
Yeah.
if anyone else has it.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thanks, Miranda.
Yes.
No other hands.
You're
up
welcome.
right now.
All right. No. Oh, there's Brahmi in India.
Oh
Nice
yeah,
to
she
see
was
you.
sweeping the temple floor earlier. That was so cool.
She was washing the temple
There's
floor.
another hand
Sweeping
up.
Oh, there's another hand, David Brown.
Yeah.
David B. Nice to see you, Brahmi.
Hey, Paul, it's so good to see you. And I didn't think about tomorrow being Thanksgiving, but this is the perfect time to say I'm very, very thankful that Hari mentioned your name to me and I got to be in your satsangs, and it's just beautiful. Thank you.
Vice versa. Thank you. We always love hearing from you. Yeah.
Hey, Paul.
All right, David B.
Hey.
Hey.
So it's funny, tonight I heard you say, we're not here for transcendence. We're here just for the dog shit awareness. And it hit me because last night, someone on Facebook said, what's your thought on transcendence? And I hit him with a whole kind of a non-duality thing. And the guy reached out to me today and asked me a little bit more about it. And I just want to thank you to kind of pop my ego bubble this evening by reminding me that, I'm not transcending anything. I'm just seeing clearly.
Yes. Yeah. You see clearly enough to realize you're not transcending anything. We're hoping to see clearly. You're seeing clearly. You're not going to transcend. That's good.
Yeah. there's still
Yeah.
there's still a desperate hope inside that this Dave will
Oh
completely.
yeah, I know there is. It's not ours. It's just there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
It's sort of like, I remember I got introduced. I don't want to go into the whole story, but I had a job once where I was selling these blow up dolls, like regular sized people. And which was strange, you know, they were women dolls. And yeah. And then I was having a hard time selling them for, you know, Catholic reasons, my upbringing and shit. And then they got an upgrade, and they sent out these 3 models with voice boxes, and you'd pull the string and it had sets in it. One of them was, "I'm a real girl. I love you. I love you. I love you." And that sort of broke me. But then I realized that's sort of like what the head is like. The head thinks it's is separate from the body when it's actually part of the body. And when the body dies, it dies. It hasn't come to grips with that realization. So it believes it's a soul or something else. And there could be soulness in people, but it's surely not that which is talking as if it has a soul. So this is, it's always hoping, well, if it gets really, really bad here, I'm going to be transcending. I'm going to go into the loop of carnating once again, whatever. So it's nice to have that rude awakening that it's gonna, when the body could, you know, poops out, there's not going to be no more pulling the string.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting you said that, because in this post, he was talking about astral projecting and meeting other individuated souls in the dream realm or in the astral realm. And sort of what I had said to him, well, to me, transcendence is sort of beyond an individuation, right? It's not to transcend it. If I go into the astral realm, there is no, you know, in my mind, there's no other there. There is no individuated David soul that'll be out there prancing around the dream to bump into another individuated soul, you know? Yeah.
Well, the weird thing is, you would think that if you're wanting to astral project, you want to get away from individuals. And now you're running into individual souls.
Sky Mall at the Sky Mall.
What the hell happened? See, the real core of the desire to escape is individuality. It's that sense of individuality that's killing us in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But then we want to escape as an individual.
The purified individual, though, of course. The purified.
Yeah. The purified. Yeah, just like I feel like I feel more purified after I take a shower and shave. I feel like I'm a more attractive individual. Now we have it too. I've purified all the defilements of the body, and I'm still here. And some of the people I meet as individuated souls are just as agitating as the ones I meet in the regular realm. Yeah, I don't know, bro. Maybe there are. I've had those experiences of lifting one out of the body, and but there's no you seeing. There's a seeing of the body. Obviously, when you come back into the body, you think it was you as a body was hovering over, but there was no body. Yeah, there was an awareness or a consciousness of a body. Yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever, you know, I just feel like, you know, there's a lot of realms I guess you could go to, but they're all sort of anchored in this one. Just watch when people talk about their dreams at night. They're usually seeing bodies, aren't they?
Mm. Yeah, I'm often still an individual.
They're usually seeing embodied celestial angels or entities, alien entities. They're body. Yeah. Isn't that fun? That's of the daydream sense is bodies.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that give you a moment of pause to realize, wait a minute, this is just another house in the system, so to speak. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Most people who describe dreams to me, there's a seeing of a lot of bodies and a lot of doing of stuff and shit like that. Yes. So what's dreaming that way, or what's perceiving a dreaming that way? It sounds like the same thing that precedes the dreaming of today, the awakened dream. And really, the negation is that sense of being the dreamer, being it the one asleep or the one awake. Yeah.
I've had mystical experiences occasioned by psychedelic use, where there was no self there, and they were very powerful. But I can tell you that without the lion story, upon arriving back in the body, I would run around and just tell my friends that I had a God experience, and that shit faded, really, always faded.
Yeah.
And your message, this message, I wouldn't say your message.
Because
it filled in the missing part of that whole.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
Yes, great. Because that's what I felt was missing, definitely. Because some like that party, that's great, sucks. Yeah. And I feel what it assumes is based on not seeing it. Yeah. So it's you, it's the owner of the house, it's the master of the house. And all of that assumption holds weight by not seeing it. So if you can see it, it may invalidate all of its credentials like that. Yeah. Yeah. But without knowing it, yeah, how it explains itself to us is as if it's us. Yeah. And like it says in the Course, there's been a making of this something else to be ourselves. So when it starts telling us about us and what's happening, why would we be suspicious with it? And yet we are, because we've heard an understanding that's given us, that's clued something in, and that some light that was being diverted is now directly on it, and it's revealing it. Yeah. Hallelujah. So that's why we said the idea of the lion story at the waterhole needs a follow-up story. It needs what happens when the young lion leaves the old lion's company and the waterhole. The sheep programming kicks in. In that case, if he was with the old lion and still at the waterhole, that could be corrected probably quickly. But because he's not with the old lion, nor the waterholes doesn't seem to always be available, it's easy to fall right back into that idea of sheepness in a sense. Yes.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, not everyone has a master down in the cellar. You know what I mean? That you can go visit every day and get a slap. You need to, yeah. But yeah. But at least the understanding helps you to recognize something that wasn't seen before. Hallelujah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like the art that's happened with many of us is authentic and beautiful and drawn by a master. The head goes into that museum, steals it, and replaces it with a phony. And now you're looking back at it, but it's doing what it used to do. But it looks just like it, and yeah, that's what happened. I had this huge event, and my mind opened up, but it's like fucking dead, so to speak.
Yeah.
Now when you seemingly go back to it, it's still a live, bubbling stream. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So now instead of, you know, it's turned into a story that's sort of dead, it's still alive. That's why a lot of the things we say at Satsang, there's a using of Satsang to remember that shit. And a lot of them were triggered by statements. So like you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. That's bubbly. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's alive still. It's not like, oh, there was once a stream there. No, it's still streaming. That's why I find almost every to go back to those statements because they're living, they're alive. Yeah, it's great. They keep bubbling up. It's awesome. So yeah, that's why, you know, we have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. The second part is for those who have the eye and watching that sheep programming kicking back in. The given is everyone has eyes to see and ears to hear, but those who have eyes and ears to hear, they'll see this and they'll hear this, yes?
Mm.
And what it once did, it won't do anymore. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's moved me enough to keep showing up because year after year after year, it had that much of an impact on me where I saw, if you don't see this, you're going to be looking from it or looking through it. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And I don't see much deviation in that. I don't. I believe if you don't see it, you're going to be looking from it. Will you be looking from it? No, but there'll be you looking from it, and there'll be an adherence to that story. There will. Because we won't know any better, but now we do. So it's awesome, yeah?
Yeah. That's
This didn't just happen with AA. AA ruins your drinking, so to speak. Because once you go to AA and then you go back to drinking, all those, you know, without knowing it are gone. You know it's fucked and shit like that. And so it's almost like a poison. The knowledge of recovery is a poison to the continuation of drinking. Because you realize, wait a minute, yeah, this is this, in a way, it's the same thing. We can't live by the water hole, and you know, we can maybe pay an old lion tons of money to be there all the time. Yeah, but if we could have an understanding, maybe we won't need the water hole and the old lion, which is the real message of the old lion. It didn't want the new lion to hang out with it all day. It wanted it just direct, you know, it didn't want anything. It was just saying, you know, you're a lion, basically. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
But you still think the continuation.
Thanks, bro. Right, Dave. I mean,
thank you,
what?
Paul. I just wanted to follow up with one thing. So you alluded to, you still think that the reoccurrence of Satsang is important forever, though. I mean, I wouldn't want to walk away from the water hole thinking that I had this.
I don't know. I don't know. It's so far so good. I don't know about forever.
Okay.
But so far so good.
Well, you don't go far from Satsang. So yeah.
Yeah. So I
Thanks,
mean,
Paul.
why not? I obviously forever is the only way I can even comprehend forever now. Yeah. So yeah, now it seems like it's working.
Yeah. Well, something that always used to tear at my mind was this idea that
we have it as action figures.
Something
Remember,
that
but I'm losing you, but when they studied like supposed old people, you know, like not old people age-wise, but you know, in the old days, community was incredibly important and hanging around a fire and shit. And then obviously the individualization for consumer importance got fostered, yeah? Yes? But there was always an association with things. So satsang is another association with truth. So there's always dharmas and always community in this dreaming. And it's healthy for people as an action figure. Yeah, it does. It brings about a lot of things that Amelia says. For most people, the real problem, if there is one, is just they don't feel connected. Yeah.
Sangha, you know,
Feel connected, feel like they're afloat. So that yeah. I'm not hearing you. You're going in and out, but yeah. So of course, the idea that we're separate causes a yearning for the absolute, I mean, the prior conditions. So now we want to feel connected, but that connection is healthy, separate or no. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, Satsang, this is how, you know, these people here, a lot of them have gotten together and they talk about other topics that I have no idea of. And they hang out and we get together and it's, yeah, it's, I think it's healthy for all. Yeah. So.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate you.
Say, Davis for all right, someone else?
You're chopping up for me a little bit, Paul. I don't know if it was David. Can you hear me? Was
Yeah,
that
David
enough?
seemed to be. I can hear you.
Okay, you're just a little choppy. You can hear me, okay?
All right. Well, we're gonna end anyway. Eh?
Okay, I'm just going to add, yeah, of course, it's been awesome, the community, like you said. But the other side of the duality is something you used to say in the live talks years ago, was you loved that somebody came once or twice, and then you just got a Christmas card from them every once in a while. So that's how great things were going for them, or how lighter things were for them.
Well, yeah, that's yeah. Every idea becomes an old idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life keeps fooling with you.
Yeah,
Remember, for
they're both
years
good.
we
They're both good.
cultivated no questions at all. Yeah, yeah. Remember all those years we cultivated no questions, and then the only way a Zoom could start was with a question in the beginning.
Well,
It's
like I used
funny,
to feel, I mean, early on, I used to feel a little funny, like, oh God, I'm coming all the time. But now it's just like, those are just the different sides of the same pole. You know, you enjoy what you enjoy.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yes. You remember, you know, the head would get perplexed. You know, they have examples with Nisargadatta Maharaj, who was a teacher, and then Ramana, where, you know, people would feel like Nisargadatta was completely gone, but he'd love to, you know, put candles in front of his pictures of saints and clean the glass and smoke his little cigarettes. And then it was very confusing for people. Yeah, that, you know, and they just look at him and they say, man, give the body a bone, you know, let it do what it likes to do. Yeah, yeah. So it's nice. Satsang people like satsang. Yeah, yeah, it's nice. All right, well, I think we'll end before, I think we've been lucky enough to have this good of a Wi-Fi. I don't want to continue. Yeah. Usually earlier than this. So. All right, so let me say goodbye. Mike, thank you. So you can hear me? Good. Kathleen, Bill, always a pleasure. We got David from Oz, Stuart from Oz, William, I think up in the Northwest. David B, thank you for that. Brahmi in the motherland. My latte lady. I just got 5 pounds of Joshua Tree Dark Espresso at the Joshua Tree Coffee Center in Joshua Tree. I'm fooling around. Bought a bag. We got Suzanne's phone, number 2. We got a new Anu's back? Yes, it looks like a familiar Zoom site. Anu, nice to see you. I don't think they can hear me. Can everyone hear me?
Yes,
No?
I can hear you.
Yes, Paul, we can hear you.
Yes.
All right, great. Nice to see you. Miranda, take it easy. Yes. Yes. Just don't do that thing. All right, we got Michael Sherman. Nice to see you, Mike.
Thanks, Paul.
We got Tyler up in Mendocino. We won't be there Saturday in Marin City. We won't be doing a Zoom on Saturday. And there won't be a Thursday recovery Zoom tomorrow because we'll be traveling. And Saturday we'll be in LA with different people. So yeah, just to give an announcement. We got Esteban. Nice to see you, Esteban.
Thank you, Paul.
Pleasure. I don't know if they can hear me. Harry?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, you can? Bobby? Matthew? Nice to see you, Matthew. We
Paul.
won't be there Saturday.
Okay, I understand. I'll see you next Saturday, the Saturday after.
Yes. Yeah. Susanna W., Susanna Werner, Mandy, Lucas, Hari. She's in a well-lit room tonight. That's good. That's progress. I think that's it. Mia from San Diego. Jim, I'm missing everyone now. But yeah, I think it's time to go.
Yeah.
Adios. See you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
I'll see you soon.
Bye,
Did you get the
everyone.
clear? The next live thing, the next Zoom will be on Tuesday.